There's no funny intro this time, just go join the forever spinning Discord server, link down below. Welcome back to another edition of So You're Interested In, the show where I break down an artist's discography in order to give you, the viewer, the best possible jumping off point in order to get into their catalog. On this episode, we are looking at the legendary hardcore group Blacklisted. Originating in Philadelphia in the early 2000s, this group made a name for themselves with their unrelenting hardcore releases that will violently tear you apart. They also stood out from the pack thanks to their gritty, realistic lyrics that range from self-worth to broken relationships and everything in between. As time went on, the band found themselves branching out from their original hardcore sound in favor of more experimental hints of grunge and noise. While so many of their contemporaries released a couple of projects, Blacklisted seemed like workaholics in comparison. And because of that, their discography is quite the sight to behold, releasing a nice mix of LPs, EPs, singles, compilations, and even live records. This might all be a bit overwhelming, but don't you sweat it, that's why I'm here. So allow me to introduce you to 2 albums and 3 individual tracks so you can finally start your journey into Blacklisted. As always, the albums are up first. The first album from Blacklisted that you should be checking out is their 2008 LP, Heavier Than Heaven, Lonelier Than God. At just under 20 minutes of runtime, this record is sure to punch up your day with its blistering instrumentals and scathing lyrics. Almost every track on here will leave you gasping for air, as each member of the band will take turns beating the literal shit out of you. As soon as you hear the first burst of the instrumental onslaught on Stations, the album's opening cut, you know you're coming out the other end with some bruises. This album really does open like a gunshot starting off a 100-meter race at a track meet. Stations is a great intro track because you'll get a really good sense of their heaviness, both lyrically and instrumentally. I mean, come on, the line, "I feel hopeless when I just wish I could feel a little less," is both badass and real as hell. I Am Weighing Myself Down features these chunky guitar riffs and one of the best sounding bass lines in all of their material. The repeating haze, belted out by singer George Hirsch, sounds like if Kurt Cobain was in a hardcore band, and that is a sincere compliment. Moving along with Circuit Breaker, the vocal strain sounds so good here too. You can hear the pain in each of the words shouted out. The instrumental is brooding too, adding an air of mystique to the cut. The ending instrumental sections are really well constructed too, especially the super pronounced bass that feels like it's jumping out at you. Finally, this LP closes out with the song Wish. God damn, what a perfectly emotional ending to this record with its guttural screams and unrelenting instrumental. Hirsch's delivery of the final line, "Wish I wasn't an emotional wreck," will cut you straight through the heart. It drives home all of the album's previous sentiments while leaving you reeling with multiple blows to your brain. Speaking personally for a second, the first time that I ever heard Heavier Than Heaven, Lonelier Than God, I immediately started to seek out the rest of their catalog. So trust me, this is the Blacklisted album to start off with. Next up, I recommend listening to the 2005 record, The Beat Goes On. This is a bit more raw than Heavier Than Heaven, showing off Blacklisted's roots in a very in-your-face way. Heavier Than Heaven might have been more open and personal, while The Beat Goes On is for anyone out there who is pissed off beyond belief. A song like Wolves at My Door personifies this aggression perfectly, with lyrics all about betrayal from those people that you thought you could trust the most. It's got a very classic hardcore feel to it, as the instrumentals go hard as hell while Hirsch dominates the vocals. Whenever he sings "Here I Am, Here I Stand," I'm ready to swing open my door to the hellscape outside with a clenched fist and a heart full of hate. Life Moves On is another standout, thanks to the call and response lyrics in the verses. Once you get the lyrics down, it's too fun to not sing along. Not to mention, the bubbling, acidic bass and throat-slashing guitar riffs are undeniably hard. Later on in the track list, we get Do You Feel, which simply kicks all of the ass. I can only imagine trying to scream the hook while deep in the pit, dodging punches and spin kicks like I'm Neo from the Matrix. Those bulky riffs could inspire a riot at the drop of a hat. Eventually, this project closes out with the instrumental cut, Mother Teresa. The long opening of drilling percussion will get you ready to go to war, and once things turn over and really kick off, you'll find yourself in a fit of blind rage. You don't need lyrics when the instrumental performance is this ground-shaking, especially the bass, which could show up on a seismograph if played loud enough. If you love that OG, crowd-killing hardcore sound, then The Beat Goes On is going to be right up your alley. That will conclude the albums portion of this episode, but don't you go anywhere, because we still got some tracks to cover. The first Blacklisted song to check out is Long Way Home from the 2005 compilation We're Unstoppable. You can also find this on their 2004 7-inch Our Youth Is Wasted. This right here is some wonderful, skull-cracking hardcore. The vocals are scaly and rough, only adding texture to the eventual screams that sound unreal. The vocals might be placed at the front of the mix, but the instrumentals do their best to claw their way to the top. Even though this sucker is only 54 seconds long, it'll stay ringing in your ears for days to come. Don't skip out on Long Way Home. Next, you should go ahead and spin I'm Trying to Disappear from the 2009 LP No One Deserves to Be Here More Than Me. Honestly, I think you should give this whole album a chance, but if you only have time for one song, I think I'm Trying to Disappear paints a clear picture of what this full release sounds like, mainly due to the fact that this is where the band began to experiment more with grunge and post-hardcore soundscapes. The slow, methodic instrumental that is featured here drives home that claim. The sheer weight of the instrumental is unbearable, especially the drums that feel heavier than heaven. They go as far to include this fantastic, subtle horn arrangement that creeps up in the mix towards the track's closing. It's a very full and complete cut, thus making it a necessary listen for any new fans. Last but certainly not least, I'm gonna need you to listen to When People Grow, People Go from the 2015 album of the same name. This is the final song from the final Blacklisted LP, and these boys go out with a bang. The instrumental is killer and mature all at the same time, with the guitar tones reaching new heights of this fox. We can thank Will Yip for the production on this thing. Hirsch's vocal performance is even more commanding than usual, with the lines "When people grow, people go" being the icing on the cake. This isn't my favorite Blacklisted record by any means, but this album closer is just too good to deny. Its reflective, lamenting, and somewhat intimate approach sets this tune apart from the rest. When People Grow, People Go is not one you're gonna want to miss out on. And that is going to conclude my video covering Blacklisted. Links to all the albums and tracks discussed here will be located in the video description box below. Scroll down even further to the comment section where you can let me know if you liked any of the albums or songs that I picked here. Maybe you're a massive Blacklisted fan and you think I completely fucked this list up. That's fine, go to the comments and let me know. While you're down there, you can also recommend any artists you would like to see covered on So You're Interested In. Also, feel free to join the brand new Forever Spinning Discord server. We're talking old music, we're talking new music, we're talking hot takes, we're talking vinyl, we're just talking music. So please join in on the fun. There is a link to that in the description as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Forever Spinning. I release new videos just like this every single week, along with other shows that I do, such as Stacks of Wax, The Variety Show, and Where It's At. There is always new content out there to be consumed. And yeah, that's gonna do it, outside of my usual reminder for you to go out and support your local record store if you are able to, along with the local artists in your area. And well, till I see you next time, happy listening.